Welcome back to Tidal Escapes. I'm Cole.
I'm Sierra.
And we're with our good buddy Kegan. He is funny enough, he used to be my old roommate when I lived up in South Carolina, so it's good to be up here, up in his neck of the woods. And he gave us a call and told us we absolutely had to do this trip, so stay tuned. So on this episode, we're going to be highlighting a pretty decently long run from Lake Moultrie in Santee, South Carolina, out to Charleston. It's about roughly a 60-mile run, give or take. So this is a trip for somebody that ain't scared to put some hours on a boat. This is super, super cool, unique. It's awesome to come up here from Florida and experience something new. All the way from freshwater up in a lake, obviously going out to the ocean. So stay tuned. We're really happy to give you some more details on this and share what our experiences were.
Yeah.
So we started out the trip with meeting Kegan at Black's Camp. This is just outside of Charleston, about, what would you say, like an hour and a half maybe. And from there, they obviously offered everything from obviously the ramp to use. They do offer overnight parking. As well as like they have some cabins, restaurant, anything that you need to pick up last minute that you maybe forgot. They got like a little general store in there. So cool place to launch out of, and it's really kind of conveniently, it's only about 30 miles off 95. So depending if you're coming from the north or south, it's very convenient. Again, this is our good buddy Kegan. We're kind of a little sad that his wife Susie ain't here to make it, but at the moment she's pregnant, so obviously the trip was probably going to be a little hard for her, and glad at so, because when we crossed Lake Moultrie, that was definitely it was a little torn up from the wind. So, and that kind of brings us into the topic of like obviously bringing about the knowledge of obviously the lake, going through the locks. So kind of fill us in on that, and like what's some local knowledge that you can share with everybody based on your experiences.
Yeah, so the lake can get really nasty really quick. It was really rough on our trip over to the lock. So where we put in at Black's, I think you have about a 20-minute ride from Black's camp to the lock, the entry door of the lock. The lake was pretty nasty and windy, and we definitely got soaking wet, which you'll see in this video. Yeah, so if it's really nasty out, you can actually go ahead and call the lock up front and make sure that they're operating the lock, and to make sure that they can physically open the door with the rough water. And then obviously lightning, they're not going to operate it. Storms, they're not going to operate it. And then they have hours from like 9 a.m. to I think about 6:30 p.m. during the summer months, and they obviously have shorter winter hours.
Also to mention too as well, if you're somebody watching with jet skis, one of the things that we learned that we kind of got some information from, what was his name?
Alan.
Yep. The hydro tech, or whatever you want to give him official name on. I'm a little illiterate with that one, but super nice dude. But he was able to fill us in on some details via, if you're coming by jet ski, one of their rules is when they're changing the water depth in the lock, you're not supposed to be out on the floating dock. You're supposed to be in your boat. And the problem is with the jet skis, they don't want you on a jet ski either. So if you're coming by jet ski, you really need to come with a buddy boat. So then that way you have a physical boat to hop in. That was one of their rules that they don't a lot, or that they kind of enforce. So keep an eye on that one. after you get through the lock, the Cooper River run is like 20-30 foot deep almost the whole way. So I would say it's pretty easy boating based on like what we know down in Florida. The first thing that we did as we were pulling into Charleston is we pulled in for like a late lunch, and this was about, where was the place called again?
It was called Shem's Creek, and we thought this place was pretty cool because once we pulled in, there was restaurants lining both sides, and you pull up by boat, and then what I thought was pretty unique is that you pull up side by side with boats. So we saw a couple of boats that were stacked up 3 deep.
And I would say, like a close comparative, if you've been in like Duval Street in the Keys, it's almost like the boat version of like Duval Street for Charleston, in my opinion. Like, you got restaurant row, bar row, super high energy location. It was unique to me. It was a cool spot, and just, I wouldn't say mayhem, but obviously just boats everywhere, a bunch of stuff to check out. So put that on the list to duplicate if you want to get some good food with some good views.
Yeah, we stopped at Sunsets and no complaints. Everything was super great, from the drinks to the food. I got a Mama's peach tea drink that was delicious, and we got some shrimp. I got tacos, yeah, that were pretty good, mahi tacos. But overall, 10 out of 10 experience. And that's something we want to highlight too, is the food. Obviously, it's very well known in Charleston, so you want to make sure you dedicate some time to checking out all your options because there's a lot.
As you're getting closer to Charleston, I know you mentioned some stuff that maybe there's some areas where maybe people should kind of look out for.
For sure. Specifically, when you get into Shem Creek, as we found out when we were coming in, like there's some areas that the locals definitely know how to scoot through, but you know, me not boating there all the time, I would definitely say that be on your P's and Q's in Charleston Harbor, because not only can it get pretty rough and nasty with all the boat traffic and it being a wide open area, it gets rough, but then you've got a lot of shoaling kind of spread all over the harbor. So obviously pay attention to your channel markers, and then don't try to be a hero, and just try to maybe go around the entry point to Shem Creek, because it's kind of out to the top of the Charleston Harbor and then back down into Shem Creek to get in there the correct way.
And one of the things that me and Kegan were talking about too as we were getting in there is that Charleston's, you know, they have like 5, 6, 8 foot tide swings depending on what time of the year, moon phase, etc. So you may run it over an area, which we did, which was 10 foot. But then, you know, we talked to somebody at the restaurant and they said, well, I've been through there on a full, low, negative tide, and I've taken out the bottom of my boat before. So, you know, keep that in mind. There's some places they don't have that big of a tide fluctuation, but Charleston's one of the ones where, you know, they get a pretty good influx of water variation. So what areas may be good then may not be good, you know, and then to flip into the next tide. And to stop right here, we've noticed a lot of people, fortunately, aren't subscribed. You know, hate to be cliche, but you know, if you don't mind, please subscribe and like the channel. Leave a comment down below if it's either something that you want to do or you've done it yourself. We would love to hear from y'all. And you know, without y'all, obviously none of this kind of stuff would happen. So we're pushing, and we're really excited to bring more and more content. But you know, from there, please share it with your family and so forth, and it kind of helps us. So where we stayed at was a Courtyard Marriott Charleston Waterfront Hotel. They had slips to pull up by boat. That's all booked through Docwa. So it's an individual like app that you sign up for, and that's how you book that. That goes into essentially like a request that then goes to the hotel, and they obviously make sure that you've made a hotel reservation. So you may want to contact them, kind of work with them hand in hand on that stuff. But just super easy. Pulled up, they had electricity and water, so that was super nice if it's somebody that, you know, you want to spray off your stuff once you're done. But from there, everything that you need. The hotel was super clean, nice, centralized, really easy to get to by boat, and I think this is a really ideal trip for somebody that want to make some really awesome memories with either your family or your spouse, and we couldn't recommend it more. Make the trip up. Some of the special things to like note on the trip that we thought was kind of cool, because we're definitely not used to it by us, because our local inlet isn't a port, is the scenes that you get to kind of take in. There's a huge, I guess you would call it like an industrial kind of industry, obviously. So obviously it's a shipping port. There's military involved. So we passed like submarines, old like museums for like aircraft carriers that you could actually like tour.
Patriots Point, they call it, and you can actually go on the aircraft carrier and do the tour on there. It's right across the Charleston Harbor.
So I mean, that part in itself is pretty cool if you're somebody that like, I mean, looks at that kind of stuff and is intrigued with it, and obviously it gives you kind of a little bit different scenery. But on the complete flip end of the things too, I mean, you're running through like Martina grass, there's like a lot of like nature involved. So you start country, you start in a lake, and you end up in a city in saltwater. So it couldn't be any more of like a flip difference.
Definitely a lot of variation between the start and the end of the trip, for sure.
Yeah. Keegan's got, you know, he kind of grew up doing this, and it's kind of family tradition, and he's got some generations coming up with his kids getting a little bit older. So kind of, what does it mean? Like, what's the trip mean to you?
Yeah, obviously, as we're going to highlight in this video, the trip's great. I mean, it's a good time to bring your family and friends. It's actually a trip we've always kind of made with family and friends. So even though we're doing this trip just to kind of highlight it with one single boat, generally we have at least 3 to 5, 6, 7 boats. I know growing up, I think the first time we did this trip with, you know, some people from our neighborhood, we were like in elementary school. It was like the middle 90s, and when we first did the trip, and it's just something we grew up doing. So naturally, you know, you kind of want your kids to follow in your footsteps with some things, and it's going to be something I'd love to pass along to the next generation and have him tell his kids about this trip. You know, I think that's kind of what it's all about. I know that my dad started boating when I was really young, actually before I was born, and I kind of naturally picked it up and picked it up a little bit later in life. But yeah, definitely something I want to spread to Andy and my next son that's up and coming as well.
So you heard him. Don't be bunk and leave your boat on the trailer. Put some hours on it. Run some gas through it. Don't be afraid to use it. This is an awesome trip, and one that obviously you can make some awesome memories with your family or your spouse. So can't stress it enough. Dude, come up and duplicate it. It's a good time. On this trip, we didn't venture into like the true like historic Charleston, very like touristy stuff, but Kegan wanted to show us Bowen's Island on our dinner night out, and just super kind of like low country, marsh, like just cool environment, man. So definitely check it out. That was a cool spot to eat at, and it's just a quick little Uber ride from where we stayed at.
Got our shrimp and grits, which that was amazing.
A pretty good breakfast spot to hit was
Holy City Bagels and Coffee. We hit this place for breakfast. It just brushed the surface of getting into downtown Charleston. Handmade bagels and coffee, a lot of options, any type of bagel you could think of.
Just a quick little short Uber ride. So check that on out. That was a good little find. And
got my pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah,
delicious.
Then we're back on the boat and make the same trip just in reverse. Super cool trip. We can't thank you all enough for tuning in and watching another one of our episodes. You know, we looked forward to really putting this all together, and stars aligned, and it was cool enough to be able to spend some time with Kegan. And you know, from there, please check this, duplicate the trip, do it, and we look forward to bringing back some more content. And with that,
thanks for following our tide, and we'll see you in the next one.